Liz, hi. Welcome to Behind the Laces.
Hey Ashley, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
We made it. I got you on Zoom. I'm recording you. We did the thing. We got the interview scheduled, and now here we are. I'm super pumped. This has been like 2 months in the making. So one of the questions I have for you is, related to why we are kind of rescheduling. You have a very busy work life, very packed schedule. So you made this team, and now you're having to fit in all of the training that it takes to run 180 miles as our last segment runner. So how are you doing it all? How are you fitting in work, life, and training for this event?
Yeah, I would give you two items the way that I'm fitting it in. First, it's this idea of ruthless prioritization and endless creativity. So I have a job that requires me to travel quite a bit. So in terms of prioritizing my long runs and the training that I'm doing, it is early mornings, late nights. I've invested in a lot of reflective gear over the past couple months. I have a couple of headlamps, a couple of vests, and any and everything that you could want to keep you safe on the roads. The other thing that I've done with being creative is there was actually a time a few months ago where I had to travel and I just wasn't able to fit in a speed workout. So I always have my running shoes with me. I always have my gear with me. And I was at the Detroit airport. I asked another passenger on my flight if they could watch my things. And I went to the top of the airport and ran sprints where the monorail would be because I knew that I had to get in my workout and I wasn't going to be able to do it before I landed at my next destination.
That is an amazing story. I love that. As if people couldn't be more weirded out in airports right now, there you are sprinting back and forth.
You know what, though? It actually gave me the opportunity to talk about what I was doing to other people as they saw me doing flying sprints across where the monorail would be.
So when you're talking to people, you're telling them you're our segment 19 runner. You are finishing the event for us, this 4.5 month long run across the country. So what does that feel like to think I'm the last runner, I'm bringing us into New York?
So I would say a couple of things. First, obviously, it's a real privilege to be part of the team overall, working with the organization, what we're doing to create awareness, to drive more support for the cause is really critical in finding a cure. I feel so honored to be the anchor. I would also tell you that it is a little bit nerve-wracking because you see everyone in front of you and what they're doing. But I think that the excitement is going to overshadow any sort of nerves that I'll have when I start in August.
Right. And that was one of my other questions too. You are now sitting here watching 18 other segments play out. So how has that been for you to see? Some have gone really smooth. Some have had some struggles along the way. So how are you kind of protecting, your mind as a runner, preparing for what segment 19 looks like, while also cheering on other people that are doing their segments right now?
One of the things that I think is really unique about our team is the community that we've been able to build over really close to a year now. And as I'm watching people, I'm taking notes. I am asking them questions along the way. What did you do for fuel here? How are your legs feeling here? Tell me about Princess and doing the ice baths. How does that feel? As I prepare myself, it's continuing to think through my purpose, why I'm doing this. Purpose behind this is to finish and, be able to do it and be able to be part of this incredible team.
And I love that you're on the team. You have a really great why. So let's talk about that. You're from the East Coast. Your family's going to be there. You're doing this for family. So how does that play into, the creative training you have to do, seeing other people go through their own highs and lows, struggles? How does family play into your training and what you perceive your event is going to be like?
Yeah, I think that I would say really a couple of things. My family has always been incredibly supportive of any and everything. They certainly thought that this was extreme. When I told them that I was doing it, my parents kept asking me, of the 188 miles, how many are you running? When they finally understood that I was running all of them, they rallied around me because they know that in my life, I have a pursuit of the perpetual challenge. So as I'm training, it is again this idea of purpose. It is thinking about family, specifically my aunt. It's thinking about other runners on the team with MF. And for me, when I'm struggling during my runs, it is playing in the back of my mind. I get to do this. So every day, every run, whether it's easy or it's hard, I continue to remind myself that I am lucky to be able to do this.
For sure, 100%. And I think that perception when it comes to not only this event, but life in general, right? We all have things that just come at us and feel like heavy weights at certain times. And there are going to be experiences during your segment where a mile feels like 100. So having that perception of I get to do this is absolutely necessary and so helpful to help you get from 1 mile to the next. Now, as I mentioned, you're from the East Coast, you're finishing us off, you have family there. So what have you thought about when you think about essentially you're running home, right? We drop you in Pennsylvania and then you're running 188 miles home. What is that concept? What does that feel like to you?
Yeah, it is a combination of excitement and comfort. So growing up, I grew up in northern New Jersey. There was a street near my parents' house that if you went there at the right time during sunset, you could see the New York City skyline. And if you've never seen the New York City skyline, it's absolutely breathtaking. It's in numerous movies. I have worked in New York, and now having lived in other places around the country and around the world, what I will feel crossing the George Washington Bridge is a real homecoming. And I'm so excited to be in this segment because I know that I'll have a lot of really great cheerleaders along the route. And a lot of folks at the finish line in orange.
Yes. And for me, knock on wood, I'm not going to jinx anything, but I have said from the start that, starting the event is one thing. Finishing is a whole nother thing in the climate that we're in right now and everything that everybody is managing. So I'm extremely excited for you to cross the George Washington Bridge for us and really bring us home for this year. It's going to gives me chills thinking about it. So before we wrap up, before I let you get back to training, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask me a question about myself or the organization. So have you thought of a question you'd love to ask me?
Yeah, I have. If you could pick, what would you say your superpower is?
Superpowers. I mean, I just have so many, Liz. It's really hard to pick one. If I have to pick one, I would say the relentless core value is really something that I relate to. A very persistent, very, not wanting to really, I'm more than happy to change goals and alter them along the way to accommodate what's happening, but I don't give up easily. So that I would say is a superpower. And I also feel like if we're not aware of our superpowers, sometimes it can have its negative things attached to it as well. I think being aware of your superpower and knowing when it is truly a positive, and then also maybe when to relent a little bit is a part of the process. So that is my superpower. So thank you so much for your time today. So glad to get this interview in. Get back to training, and we'll see you in August when you bring the team home to New York.
I'm Ashley Schneider, Executive Director of MS Run US. Thank you so much for watching our videos, and make sure to subscribe so you can get our latest uploads.